So I'm sure it comes as no surprise to most of you guys that I'm a serial tinkerer, always playing with things, always swapping shocks or swapping this and doing that and changing, trying this and, always messing around, always playing with stuff. Now the downside to that is how many revolutions of tension these bolts go through. So I've on and off this shock, the Vivid Air shock, my coil shock, the Marzocchi coil shock. Everything's been on and off and back and forth. And these bolts, they're quite light to keep the bike light. They're quite light and quite light duty. So 11 Newton meters, 60 or 70 times, has eventually pulled it's kind of pulled the face of the bolt off of the meat of the bolt. So I can no longer get tension on it. Now, thankfully, I bought this bike in Adelaide. I bought it from Giant Adelaide. So local service, convenience. I mean, they're in the city, so it's not super convenient for parking, but other than that, convenience. This is the second bolt that I've damaged. Some will say, oh, you're just over tightening them, but I'm not over tightening them. It's just a matter of over and over and over again doing that tension. Eventually that weakens and weakens and weakens, and then it pops because it's just a little aluminium bolt. So went into Giant, or called them up, and sure enough, Nathan and the boys, so Nathan's I think he's the head mechanic or the main mechanic, but he's been around forever. He's killer. He's always looked after me in the years and years and years. I've never had a bad experience. I've never had a bad attitude or anything like that from this fella, from anyone really in the Giant world. So Yatesy used to run that store, and now it's different people. Still killer, still good people. Hooked me up, gave me a spare out of another frame, a damaged frame or whatever that they've torn down and replaced. So I've got the bolt. It's gotten me out of trouble. But my question is, I'm trying to dip into the brains trust a bit here. Does anybody know where you can get these generically? Like just a generic bolt, or maybe a little bit more heavy duty. I don't really care about the weight too much, but it's the top trunnion mount bolt. So I'm assuming they're all pretty similar for all trunnion mount style bikes. But I need spares just in case it happens again, and who knows, it might happen to a different bike that I'm borrowing or testing or anything like that. So I'd just like to have a couple of little backups. If anybody knows where I can get one of these, let me know, because I was a little bit panicked, like, oh no, I'm really starting to ride, almost on the daily, and then boom, my bike's out of action. So I was like, oh, am I going to be 2 weeks off with all this momentum, I'm going to be 2 weeks off the bike? But sure enough, Nathan and his boys come through the goods. So shout out Giant Adelaide. Shout out to the boys there. But does anybody know, he's actually getting me some, but does anybody know where you can get them generically? That'd be great to know. Let me know.